warm welcome to Newshour Special Edition. You're watching it with me, Priya Bahal. The left is nervous with Trump's victory. Their irritation has turned into hysteria. When right-wing rises, it's dubbed a threat to democracy. And when the conservatives collaborate, deep state colludes to dethrone them democratically. All those said by Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni to an audience in the United States, each of these statements hits home, with the narratives bearing eerie similarities with what Indian opposition has been saying about Narendra Modi and his government. Remember the Save Democracy protests and Constitution at Peril poll narrative? But are these observations really true or just hyperbole that many see as synonymous with conservatives? Let's find out.
When Bill Clinton and Tony Blair created the global leftist liberal network in the 90s, they were called statesmen. Today, when Trump, Meloni, Milei or maybe Modi talk, they are called a threat to democracy. This is the left's double standard. But we're used to it. We are used to it. And the good news is people no longer believe in their lies. Despite all the mud they throw at us, citizens keep voting for us.
See, the whole world order is changing. We have seen that the conservatives or the right wing, whatever you say, is gradually growing in the world order. And we have already taken a pledge to eliminate Naxals. But mind you, the Naxal in India is only an armed wing of this left-wing ideology. Today, the centrists, there is nothing called as centrist. They are all leftist with just a mask on their face as centrist. And they are anti-democratic.
देखिए अब उनकी अपनी राय हो सकती है, लेकिन जो हकीकत है, जो सच्चाई है, वो सबके सामने है. और भारत के अंदर क्या स्थिति है, आज लोकतांत्रिक व्यवस्था किस तरह से चल रही है, संविधान पर किस तरह से खतरा है, ये सारी दुनिया को पता है.
But who's she to interfere in our democracy? She's not supposed to. And Mr. Modi also crossed the limit that when he went to America to campaign in favor of Trump, that was also not right. And Meloni, how does she know about India? She doesn't know about, she should mind her business.
She wasn't even talking about India in particular, but the rise of the right across the world and how there is a certain lobby who call themselves leftist liberals who are becoming increasingly insecure, perhaps feeling threatened by it. But why is that so? And what she said, is it even true or just an exaggeration? To answer those questions and more, we are now joined by Rahul Ishwar, who is an activist, Dr. R. Rajgopalan, senior journalist, Sushant Sareen, who is a senior fellow of ORF, is with us, Saif Khan, a leader from the Congress Party, Professor Manojit Mandal is also joining us in a bit. He's a political analyst. S. Harish Mohammed Ibrahim, who's a political analyst, is also with us. But let me start with you, Mr. Sushant Sareen. As an apolitical voice, let's put things in perspective for our viewers first. Explain to us, what does Meloni mean when she says that there has been a continuous rise of the right in the world?
Look, frankly, the left and the right debate in India is I think a little... I think it's a little out of place in India because we really don't have a traditional right wing in India. We have two versions of the left wing, if I might be permitted to say so, at least in terms of social and economic policies. But this is a debate which is there for the Western world, which has been divided between the left and the right. And what we have seen is that over the years, over the decades rather, the left has steadily made inroads and captured institutions, captured academia, captured the media and tried to, dictate the discourse which was happening in the country, and then pushed in very pernicious agendas all across. Now that left liberal elite bubble is bursting, and they really don't know how to handle, the fallout of when that bubble is bursting, because now their domination over the media, over academia, over politics, and over the sentiments of the people is being challenged like never before. And this is across the board. It's there in the US, it's there in Canada, we are seeing it happen. We've seen some of it in South America, in Argentina in particular, where a very right-wing president has literally started transforming an economy which has been broken for decades. And we are seeing this happen now. Those pressures grow inside Europe, which had actually become very fascist. Some of these left liberals had become the most fascist forces. They were not wearing brown uniforms, all right, but in terms of the policies and the way they were trying to snuff out freedom of speech and expression, and even the right to dissent in a way was being snuffed out, and people were being put in jail for nothing more than forwarding a tweet or tweeting something or putting some Facebook post. People were actually being jailed. Elections were being countermanded simply because they were throwing results that were not according to the liking of these people. And if somebody not on your ideological spectrum was winning elections, you said, there is democratic backsliding. And when you won and you put in place, look at the United States, for example, the way Donald Trump was being hounded, the way the various cases were being instituted against him, the kind of miscarriage of justice that was taking place, the kind of weaponization of justice process that was taking place out there. We've seen all this happen, and there's been a reaction against it. And the left cannot handle that its monopoly is being challenged. Now, this is a debate which is more in the West. In India, like I said, we really don't have, at least traditionally speaking, we really don't have a right wing. We have two versions of the left. That's about it. It's unfortunate, but that's the reality in India.
Mr. Rahulishwar, would you like to counter that argument that we don't really have a right wing in India?
No, Priyaji, two submissions. I know I'm a proud Hindu right-wing activist appearing in national media for the past 15 to 16 years. Let's understand what is right and left. As a student of philosophy, it comes from philosophy. Right leans more towards the nature argument, whereas left lean more towards the nurture argument in the nature versus nurture debate. Right is more about identities. Left is more about economics. That's a very simplistic explanation, but largely this is the paradigm. All the identity movements, basically whether you are a white, whether other things are largely belong to the right. And the left is more in economics, and left incorporates backward community identity so that it can consolidate. This is the large pattern. What is Trump basically? Trump is Protestant, Christian, American, white. That's the core of Trump. Let's be honest about it. What is Meloni? Meloni is basically Italian right. And what is Modiji? I'm very happy that he's towing a Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas Gandhian line, but basically he's a right of the center activist. During independence times, Mahatma Gandhi was the center, with Sardar Patel being the right-leaning person and Nehruji being the left-leaning person. India's first right-wing counter was C. Rajagopalachari with his Swatantra Party, which nearly won 50 to 60 seats in the earlier election. So right and left are basically in culture and economics. Basically in India, RSS or the BJP, the entire ecosystem is center to left in economics and center to right in cultural matters. Congress has traditionally been center to left in culture and center to left in economics. So economics, culture or identity are the issues on which, and right now it's a happy trend that world over right-wing identity-based movements are coming up in a big way, whether it is Donald Trump, raising the cause of the white race, the Caucasians or the Aryans, whichever way they want to call it. Identity movements or right-leaning movements are really rising in Germany because of immigration, in England, so many other places. In India too, the Hindu identity is asserting. There is no need to fear right. Ultra-right is bad, just like ultra-left is. Urban Nazis are bad, just like urban Naxals are. But a center-right formation is good for the world because it is development-oriented, growth-oriented, focused towards better efficiency in governance and all. The left liberals had this way for the past 50 years. Now it is time for right to at least guide us for the next 1 or 2 decades.
Mr. Saif Khan, which side of this division would you think the Congress party lies?
See, what I believe is, in India, none of the parties are left or right.
What is the Congress, sir?
Unlike in US, we have two
Congress
parties.
centrist?
One is like Democratic, one is Republicans. That is absolutely, it's centered. And that is what the ideology. We believe in equality and nationalism. That is what we believe in. That is what the Indian National Congress is all about. So now let's come to the words of what Meloni, what the Prime Minister of Georgia has been saying about Donald Trump and what message has given to the left. That is for the left. That is for the US, for them or for the people to decide who is left and who is right. Let's not confuse here between left and right. the main motto, or the main I would say the point of view which the president of Italy or Georgia has stated is she has praised Donald Trump. She has praised even Modi ji. I mean, praised for what? I would like to know. What is the benefits being given by Italy? I would like to know if she's been praised by Donald Trump, praising Donald Trump, or maybe Modi ji. Is the Shinchan visa being revoked for India?
No, sir. See, the issues that you're raising might be issues for a separate debate, but let me just keep our focus very narrow, and any which ways it's a very academic debate. But the simple point that Meloni was making is that when leaders like Trump, like Modi, who have been widely branded as right-wing, and Rahul Ishwar says they are proud right-wing, it is not for me to define what they are, what they are not. When they unite, when they collaborate, it is then that left liberal lobby, these are her words, they get nervous to the point of being hysterical. Do you think that when a Rahul Gandhi takes out a protest with the other opposition leaders where they carry banners of Save Democracy after Narendra Modi's government has been elected by the people, by democratic processes, it is hysteria?
See, what I'm saying is Modi ji is a threat to the democracy. Why
How?
not? Let me give.
Why are those people who have voted NDA and BJP back to power not being able to see what Congress is seeing, and why are you being rejected and that threat to democracy is being elected?
Let's talk about the press freedom here. India is sitting on 150. Priya, let me complete. We are talking about the press. Let's first, Priya, I would like to define here. Modi ji is a threat to democracy. Why not? Firstly,
that's exactly what Meloni is saying. Mr. Rajgopalan wants to make a point, and then we'll open this up for the rest. Yes, Mr. Rajgopalan.
Out of one Meloni, what the Italian Prime Minister Meloni stated is absolutely correct. In India, there is a left wing, right wing, and moreover, in India, every 50 kilometers you have a new language. From Tamil Nadu to Andhra Pradesh, everything it evolves. Similarly, communism also evolves throughout the world. That is what Meloni said. It's a threat to democracy, what she described. Apart from that, Priya, in 2024, it's a right-wing year. My understanding, in at least 85 countries went for polls, and many of them have gone right-wings. In India, I would like to say, Meloni, what she echoed, has been echoing by the West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee for a longer time. She decimated left parties for 30 years ago. And second thing, also another important, left wing exists in India only in JNU and also on television studios. Second, the Congress spokesperson just now said Congress is a centrist party. Should Rahul Gandhi go to USA and say that Communist Party, Muslim League is a... Which party did she mention?
Secular party.
Secular party. Is it a Congress? Congress has been taken over by left parties. That is why Prime Minister has been approached. Narendra Modi is saying in Parliament also, Congress has become urban Naxals and Pariji parties. So international, like what Madam Meloni said, what Prime Minister says, what Trump says, all fall in one line.
Okay.
Second, CPM and CPI will lose the identity in Indian politics in 2029. They will lose the election symbol also. That's a threat. My understanding is, wait and watch. Meloni echoed Mamata Banerjee's views.
Manajit Mandal, your party, the party that you support, the TMC, seems to be an outlier here. You've defeated the left, you've defeated the right. Where would you say your party lies? And when Meloni says that people have been electing the leaders that parties like yours, who are a part of the INDIA bloc, call threat to democracy, how do you take that?
No, first of all, my party leader believes in the idea of humanism. And how-ism, we call it Mamtabad. Mamtaism, this is a coinage recently made by one of our erudite education ministers of the country, Professor Brattabur. This is Mamtaism, which is a curious mix of secularism, humanism, and development, or nationalism. I mean, I think Mamta has never believed in either of the polar. I mean, whether it is right or the left or the centrist. She was with the centrist party, and because of their leaning towards the left, she had to leave. Everyone knows why Mamta Di left Congress party in the late 90s. It's because of left's leaning towards, Congress's leanings towards the left. In fact, if you look at the history of the Congress party, they started getting dismantled because of their bonhomie with the left. They did not follow the ideology that Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi believed in. They did not even follow the ideology that at the time even Jawaharlal Nehru believed in. Their bonhomie with the left, I think, remained one of the downfalls in Indian politics. Bengal being the classic case. Bengal being the classic case. In Bengal, they stand at zero at this point in time. Almost at 0%, right?
Mr. Saif Khan, that's a reminder coming from your ally there. You say that Congress is a centrist, but that's the TMC, your friend, who is saying that you are not centrist, you are left of a center. And which is why all these definitions are given by Italian Prime Minister of being hysterical, irritated, they all apply to you?
Absolutely not, I would say. I completely disagree to the statement which has recently been made by one of the TMC spokespersons here on the channel. We are central, we are secular, we are nationalist. And we made it very clear. Gandhiji is the one which we follow, not Mamtaji. Secondly,
So then that would mean that if Congress loses an election, it is the people of this country repeatedly rejecting that ideology?
Let's come to that. And let's investigate.
Haryana, Maharashtra,
Yeah, if you could allow me to firstly complete.
UP by polls, Delhi.
Right. Let me. I'm really sorry. Could you repeat that?
I'm saying that if you say that you are centrist, despite your allies and every other expert on this panel saying otherwise, does that mean that people of this country have completely rejected whatever ideologies that the Congress stands for or claims to stand for?
Why? We've been fighting those elections, and we are still in the opposition. We are trying our level best to come, give the best to the people of India, and we are still doing that. Let's come to the statement where we are on the topic, right? Let's define what Meloni has said, right? Praised Donald Trump, praised Modi ji. Okay, let's come to the fact and figures now. Why Meloni has been made the statement? She is a close friend of Elon Musk, one of the businessmen. She has a target to achieve 7.3 million euros. And maybe now, as most of the prime ministers or Donald Trump himself is a businessman, right? Meloni is a close friend of Elon Musk, one of the businessmen who has a target now to achieve those kind of figures. And now Modi ji is again the friend of Adani ji. Maybe that praising comes when...
Sir, I don't understand the logic of this argument.
How to complete or how to achieve those...
Mr. Ibrahim,
she has a specific target.
Mr. Ibrahim, do you understand the logic of this argument?
7.3 billion euros is what she needs.
Italian PM did speak about collaboration, but I do not understand the financials of the collaboration that Mr. Saif Khan is trying to put together.
Now the statement...
Mr. Ibrahim, Mr. Khan, let Mr. Ibrahim speak, please. He's been patiently listening for a while now. Yes, Mr. Ibrahim.
Yeah. In international politics, geopolitics, there is only one thing. Whether we are going ahead with the conservative thoughts, whether we are going with liberal thoughts, whether we are going to take the democratic route, whether we are going to take an autocratic route. Where Italian Prime Minister has categorically defined that what is rising and what is, whether the left has been upset with or what has been across the world, whether the right has been rising. Yes, of course, the right has been rising, as Mr. Rajagopalan said, across the world which went for the elections, the right wing, that is the conservative rulers have been come forward in most of the countries. But where the left has been under the scrutiny, where the left has been under threat, they feel is, in America, the entire story is different. When the conservative comes to rule, whether the white supremacy takes place, whether in India, when it comes to Mr. Narendra Modi or the BJP or RSS ruling is concerned, where you will have the religious kind of politics, where the hatred politics goes on. So the left, the far liberals will always feel that the conservatives are always against the humanity. They are against the progressive politics across the state. That is where the left and that is what the Italian Prime Minister has been categorically defining, is what I understand. But even across the world, even if it take India for the last 3 quarters or the 3 terms which the NDA has been rolling, whether we are taking forward in anywhere in the economical front or the geopolitical front or in the hunger index, anywhere you take for the matter is concerned, wherever there is a conservative party, you win the election. It doesn't mean that whatever you are doing is right. You need the data to back up your ideology, the data to back up your stand, and the data you have to back up for your progressive politics. When the conservative politics has been taken ruled by the Trump, he immediately come and abolished the gender equality. When the world has been moving to LGBTQ, AI plus to make an inclusive environment, where the conservative, where the regressive politics is taking back.
And also, if right-wingers were so bad, if conservatives were so bad as the opposition in India at least would have us believe, and even otherwise, Joe Biden has also said that Trump is going to destroy democracy, he's willing to get rid of democracy. Why would in Europe, there would be a clear gap between left wing and right wing. Their average vote share has been increasing steadily for the right wing. Post 1990, they have obtained a record 55.7% vote share against 42.3% of the left wing. And when it comes to the question of democracy, and Rahul Ishwar and Mr. R. Rajgopalan both want to come in on this matter, there are surveys done by renowned agencies like the Pew Research Agency, and the data that I could access from 2024 tells me that in India, under Modi, the so-called right-wing threat to democracy government, 77% of Indians said that democracy is working in India. And there are countries which have leftist governments. You have US under Biden over here. 31% people think that democracy is working. 68% people think democracy is not working in the country. And then there was France under Macron, an extreme left-leaning leader over there. 65% of people said democracy is not working in our country. You also have Japan, where the numbers were as high as 67%. There was France as well on that list, and UK under Starmer, 60% people there, so on and so forth. Yes, data there refuting those who say that rise of the conservatives is a threat to democracy and substantiating what Meloni is saying. Mr. Rahul Ishwar first.
And Priyaji, just remember, in India, democracy is working well. The only thing we Indians are back is we don't have any political honesty. Everyone tries to pretend as a centrist. See, don't try to act and pretend. If you are a right-winger, proudly own up that you are a right-winger. If you are a left-winger, proudly say, I'm either a left-winger or a center-left. Congress is center-left. There is nothing called right or the center. Congress is a center-left party. BJP is a center-right party. There is no shame in admitting those. Even those who are associated with BJP have some kind of shame in calling it a right party. See, right believes in identity politics, right believes in family, right believes in conservative values, left believes in economics progressiveness, left doesn't believe, believes more in feminism than in family, left supports more of the abortion rights. Just like Trump occupies the right-leaning space of US, Modi ji occupies the right-leaning space of India. Just like Biden or the center-left Democrats there, Congress is the center-left Democratic Party. In India, we don't have political honesty and everyone tries to pretend the imaginary centrist. That is not the case. And please remember, right world over is rising because post-Second World War, the left liberals really got the upper hand because of extreme right-wing nationalists like Hitler. The entire Europe, we even began to hate the word called nationalism, anything right. See, we don't want Ku Klux Klan, we don't want God Says, we don't want the Proud Boys, but we can have reasonable, compassionate conservative, if I have to use American terminology, reasonable conservatives. So the reasonable right, the opposition to left liberal is right responsible. If it is a left liberal on the other side, on our side it is right responsible, and we should be proud in saying that we are right responsible. There is nothing wrong, and right responsibility is rising world over, and it is a positive sign because it will be less government, more governance, family focus will come back, so many other social index will be better.
Yes, let me get you in, Mr. Sushant Sareen, on this. Amit Malviya today put out a very interesting statement as he quoted Giorgia Meloni. He said being conservative is cool now. What are your thoughts on that?
No, it's not a bad word anymore. A few years back, being a conservative was a four-letter word, no longer. So that is one. Secondly, look, in India, for example, look at the way what we have been doing. Even under Mr. Modi was the guy who came in 2014 promising us better governance and smaller government. Have we got a smaller government today? We haven't. We have the bureaucracy running amok out here. And I think that in many ways is one of the areas on which I would have a major grouse with Mr. Modi, with the original agenda which he came, that he was going to have lesser government in India. For example, we are talking about identity politics and stuff like that, but look at our economic policies. They are mostly leftist in very much in nature. We still abhor wealth, although Mr. Modi, to be fair to him, he has said that we should celebrate wealth creators. But have we actually as a society, or even the BJP as a party, really started celebrating wealth creators and not being ashamed of their association? What is wrong with India if, for example, the government of the day supports an Indian businessman when he goes and bids for projects outside, whether it's an oil concession, whether it's ports, whether it's setting up an industry? Why should the government of India be shy of being seen to be associated with an Indian businessman? The Indian businessman is an Indian, first of all. And if he is bringing business to the country and spreading the footprint of India, why are we shy about it? Because we are technically at one level, socially we are conservative, economically we are on the left. So that is one of the big problems which out here. But one thing I have to say, you know, this whole nonsense about when the conservatives come in or the right wing, so-called right wing comes in, there are autocratic policies. Look at the way the leftists have tried to impose their agendas on their societies. So, for example, on this whole LGBTQ, now I have no problems with, you know, giving people their rights, but shoving it down everybody's throat, making gender surgeries a kind of a mandatory, that a 5-year-old kid suddenly thinks that no, he's not a boy, he's a girl, and you are mandated to take him and get them operated. This was what the Nazis used to do. This is what the liberals have done.
Yes, Manojit Mandal, do you think that now is the right time to perhaps dehyphenate left and liberal, and it is in fact the left who are supposed to be liberal are more conservative when it comes to implementation of their policies? For example, well, arrest of somebody for just sharing a cartoon.
You see, academic left could have been liberal, but the left who were on the grounds doing politics have never been liberal. This has happened in Russia also, since the time of Stalin. They have always been the dictator, including what happened in the longest serving in communist regime in the world, that is West Bengal. And I just wanted to sort of rebut my friend from Congress. They used to allege that about 50,000 of their workers were butchered by the left because of political violence in 1977. And how could you ally with the same left in 2016? They are like the problem. Look at what they are doing now. In Kerala, they are fighting with each other. In Bengal, they are having time, they are tied up with each other. So you don't follow any kind of state ideology. They are like the problem. The problem with the left is that the practitioner of left, quote-unquote practitioner of left, they do not believe in the ideology of Karl Marx or Lenin anymore. The ideology of
Mr. Mandal, I'll have to interrupt you because unfortunately I'm completely running out of time. But the ideology is a very interesting thing for the TMC to speak about, because the ideology that they destroyed when they had to come to power in West Bengal seems to be the ideology that they now are towing the line of. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me on that very enlightening debate. Time for us to take a very quick break.